Revenge doesn't always have to be pro or nuclear to be good. No, sometimes it can be petty, like you'll see in this episode of Petty Revenge. Our first one is from Legal Nevil 1. This was a really short and sweet, immediate petty revenge moment. I was enjoying a cup of coffee on my back porch. We live on the 10th hole green on a golf course. It is set in nature, nestled by trees and filled with deer and turkeys and all sorts of other things like that. It is a very Keep Tahoe blue kind of place in the Sierra foothills. This entitled prick of a man in his 70s cruises to the green on his golf cart and proceeds to jump out of the cart with a lit cigarette in his mouth that he just throws on the ground, still lit, before putting his ball. I was kind enough to wait for his shot, and then when he walked back to the cart, I asked him if he was going to pick up his cigarette. He rolled his old man eyes at me, and I looked at his friends and said, "Really? You're just gonna let this guy throw his nasty cigarette butt? It's not his personal course." They weakly shrugged their shoulders, and they all drove away. I put down my coffee and walked out front to my driveway, off to the side, out of view. The next tee is directly across the street from my driveway. So as soon as the old man put his ball on the tee and takes his driver back, I immediately yell, "For you effing litter bag!" at the top of my lungs and completely ruin his shot. The ball literally bounced off his own golf cart and he practically threw his driver. It brought me immense amounts of joy. Thankfully, he had the foresight to not retaliate, and they all drove off down the fairway. The people that think everywhere they go is their own personal litter box is just absolutely ridiculous, and the fact that the man was in his 70s or at least up there in age, he was old enough to know better. Good on the OP for fucking up this guy's golf game. This next one is by Just a RN. Technically, she is my half-sister, but moving forward, I had been trying to get restraining orders against my mother, her husband, and my half-sister. With everything I had, it should have been a done deal, but the judge thought otherwise and denied it. Before we left the courtroom, my lawyer asked to put a statement on the record, which was that I had all the power and if they showed up on your property, I have the right to have them arrested. I told him I understood, and then looked directly at them and said, "If you show up on my property, I will not ask you to leave or tell you to leave. I'll just call the police. You will be arrested, and I will press full charges for trespassing." A little on my sister. She's spoiled. My parents put all their money and efforts on her, and it's now biting them in the ass. Read prior posts on my family to get better understanding. But the long story, we come from money. She was the chosen one. She got everything. I built my own life. I'm getting ready to move and have been packing, and she showed up yesterday. I did exactly as I told them I would. I didn't ask or tell. I just called 911 and explained the situation. The police showed up and asked her what was going on. She said I was her brother and that she wanted to talk. I told the police and her that she has no business being here and to arrest her, and I will be pressing full charges. And they did just that. I feel nothing. The level of hatred I have for her is dangerous. She's treated me like less than any kind of a living human being my entire life. She thrives on this. I feel like I was perfectly justified in doing this. They knew what would happen if any of them showed up, so fuck around, find out. What gets me is the family probably didn't even think it was that serious, even though they were in a fucking courtroom. They probably thought it was all a bluff. Well, like the OP said, the sister fucked around and found out. This next one is from Responsible Demand 28. Years ago, I was at my girlfriend's house from about 10 to 2 a.m. playing board games. In San Francisco, it's tough to find a parking spot, so I rode my scooter to her place and parked between two driveway cutouts on a curb that was approximately 3 feet wide. This is quite common, perfectly legal, and normally not a big deal. To be clear, I was not blocking their garage, but I did park between two cars parked in front of their garage. I've been to her 6-unit apartment building dozens of times, and have seen their no parking signs on the building between the 3 garage doors, in front of the curb area I parked at. I came out to my scooter with both vehicles still parked in the same position they were in when I arrived to find a note on my seat. I loved the anger, sarcasm, rage, and entitlement, so of course I kept it, and it is now placed prominently on my refrigerator for all to read. I appreciate this guy's effort and outrage, despite being a petty note to leave it. It kinda reminds me of something I might do, making sure I was in compliance with the law, however. The note, sadly, I can't share a picture of it.
I'm wondering if you are illiterate, have a poor sense of spatial recognition, don't care if your bike is damaged when I have to pull out of the space since you've not left me enough room to do so safely, or you don't care if you're sighted or towed. Move your bike before you are sorry you ignored the no parking sign, and don't park here again. There are many other available spaces for you to park.
Next day at work, I looked up parking codes in San Francisco. And turns out you cannot park in front of your garage if you live in a building with more than 2 units, and you can only install no parking signs on a garage door. I called SF311 and reported the situation, and next time I went to visit her, the no parking signs between the garages were removed, and I never saw a car parked in front of the garage doors again. I only felt bad for the other 2 people who can no longer park in front of their garages because of this Karen or Kevin. The fact that they left a note instead of damaging the vehicle or trying to have it towed themselves, I guess was good, but at the same time, it also damned them. It does make me wonder if they realized their note was the reason they got screwed out of parking in front of their garage. And our final one is by Hot Turnip 199. Many years ago, I worked for a bank. It opened 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and 9 to 12 noon on Saturday. We were paid during opening hours, but setup and branch closing always seemed to be, unfairly, on our time. Saturdays tended to be quiet, so we prepped branch closing ahead of time. We all had assigned actions and should have been able to leave the branch within 2 minutes of closure. Enter Mr. Tosspot. Mr. Tosspot was a slimy individual with no known friends. He had one of those smug smiles, and I'm fairly sure he hated women. We were all low-paid women, and most had young children that they wanted to get home to see. Mr. Tosspot would hang around outside until 11:58 a.m. Then he'd come in and make a big show of slowly getting his paperwork out. He'd ask the same stupid questions every Saturday, just to waste our time. If anyone showed slight annoyance, it made him happy. We waited him out until one day he had to say,
I do hope that I'm not delaying you from your weekend and family time.
Smug smile on a face that was begging to be slapped with a crowbar. My genius colleague responded with a smile. Not at all. After 12, we get paid triple for every minute of overtime, so you're doing us a big favor. Thank you so much. His face was a picture, and then he tried to rush the transaction, which we wouldn't allow. He was sweating and irritated. You could tell he wanted to shout at us. We just kept our customer service smiles on the whole time. That was the last time he ever attempted to arrive late. The sad thing is, people like this actually exist on the world, and we have to share it with them. And they just think that, I don't know, I guess trolling people is the highlight of their day, as in this case. It's a beauty that the troll ended up getting trolled in the end, just like he deserved. Alright, that's enough pettiness for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Petty Revenge. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.